is none other than Prash Trivedi by himself, the divine embodiment. It's just like that. For me, like definitely nothing startles me more other than the nakshatras, other than Rahu and Ketu. Even in my own chart, Rahu and Ketu are very strong. And where I got the authentic knowledge, credible knowledge, was from the books of Prashant Trivedi. I still remember right at the time when I started reading his book, I was so mesmerized. And then I started doing a research on him. And when I first time saw his photograph, it's like, okay, I got a rock star of astrology. That was my very first impression. And I still, whenever I go to any bookshop, like even in Bharti Vidya Bhavan, I have seen that happening so many times. Like someone will walk in and they will ask, can you recommend me any good book on nakshatra? Oh, then the bookseller will say, oh, just give him Prashant Trivedi, it's the best. After that, you don't need to read anything. So that's the kind of reputation, Prashant, you have around this, because if it will not be an exaggeration to say that nakshatras are like the heartbeat of the zodiac, and the way you have gotten into the depth of explaining the nitty-gritty of the nakshatras of Rahu and Ketu, of Sun. So I'm so honored to have you. It's like my role model, my hero right now in front of me. I'm so fascinated, and it's all up to you first. Now, if you want to share anything.
Yes, Nipun, that's too much of praise. I mean, I don't think they deserve that much praise, but just long time ago, those books were written, in the beginning of the 21st century. I mean, if they helped people and gave a more clearer understanding of Vedic Jyotish, so that was the aim, that they should make it more technical, make it more clear, make it more tangible for people, the science. So that was the actual aim and goal. So it's good, like it affected people in that way, that they took this science in that direction from that point on, some people at least. So
yeah. Yes, Prashant. Because Prashant, like if I were to ask you, like what actually, okay, we'll take like one subject at a time. So even if you will talk about Rahu and Ketu, so what intrigued you towards Rahu and Ketu? Like it was like you felt that not much work, because the traditional Vedic astrologers have given a very bad rep to them. So was that the driving factor, or you thought that okay, I have some more findings, insights which I want to bring out in the world?
Okay. So it's a multiple factors as always, but the main factor was this. The 7 grahas, main grahas, on which there are 7 days of the week, right? 7 days of the week, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. All of those are 7 main grahas. Now, they're well set. Those grahas are well set. Their roles are well set. Okay. Everything is well set, like, okay, Sun, Father, Moon, Mother, this thing, Mars, Jupiter, Venus, all of them have very well set roles, including Saturn, everybody. Everyone understands the roles of those 7. And in society also, you can see the roles very clearly, clearly marked. Now, that is fine for the earthly social matrix.
Yes.
That. But what about people who want to get out of the cycle of birth and death? What about people who want to get out of the matrix? What are the grahas for those?
Yes.
So and these 7 are not for that, right? So because they have very fixed roles in society. So then we come to the 2, Rahu and Ketu, which are the outsiders, the outliers, the ones who are interested in things beyond earthly position, earthly society, and something more than that. Now, if you look at the Vedic cosmology, okay, then we have different lokas, like 14 lokas. We have all these things which are beyond terra, earth, terrestrial, beyond, other realms of existence. Now, that topic, like interest in that, or that thing, there has to be something for that. What can give interest there? So then Rahu Ketu came into picture again, because the answers were not in the 7 grahas, which were, to run the things of the world. Sun comes out, that's when the, things will happen on earth. Moon is used for the like seed fertility, and how the seeds, that thing, get germinate at night. And so there are different things which those grahas are for, but this thing of getting out of the cycle of birth and death, that was the main thing. Like, it was my own interest, so, and Rahu Ketu were the ones which fit in to that. So
Yes.
for me, they were like about knowledge and liberation, knowledge, Rahu and Ketu liberation. So it was the kind of topics I was interested in. Okay, and they matched what they were about. Okay, and the bad rap thing, which obviously you talked about, was there already, and obviously one wants to correct that. A correction is required of that. Like just fear mongering, general fear mongering about them had to be corrected. But that was just that happened automatically. Once you delve into that, you realize that these are the interesting points. These are the points which will take you beyond like a very like narrow, shallow level of thinking, perception, existing. So that was like fun for me. It was right down my alley. It was in my ballpark. So those things met, and that's how the Rahu Ketu thing happened. Yes.
Happened. And
Yeah.
Prashant, people find it very difficult, right?
I mean, again, that comes down to different things. Like once you understand that in the path of knowledge and liberation, okay, there are certain disciplines. Okay, and once you really, really understand internally that those disciplines are required, okay, and they are necessary, then you don't need an external force. No external force can actually sway you from that, because your understanding is so clear, the clarity is there. Then it doesn't matter what is the external environment and how it can't affect you in that kind of way. So that's where the knowledge aspect is very important. It has to be, the clarity has to be there. And when the knowledge aspect has a fuzziness or the smokiness or the lack of clarity, that's where the things go, that thing's strange. And so that's exactly the point for that. Like, so that's why I find that Saturn is the starting point for Rahu and Ketu.
Yes.
So Saturn is the last and Saturn is the ground discipline. Okay. And so there has to be basic Saturn discipline there before you go into Rahu. I think if you go into Rahu and Ketu without the Saturn backbone, you are in trouble. Like it's, so that's where I find the Saturn is the bedrock, the foundation, basically. It's that of going into Rahu Ketu. I'm not saying other grahas have to be there. Obviously, everything has to be in its place, but Saturn especially, because that's where a lot of people struggle actually going into those domains. So, and
Prashant, one more thing, because because I have strong interest in reading holy scriptures, different depiction of shastras by different Vedic scholars. So I have read many of the good books on astrology, on different Vedic philosophies written by people with your last surname, Trivedi. So I just want to know a little bit about your upbringing. What kind of, and like, were you being raised in such a strict Vedic astrology environment, influence? Just in brief, I want to know two things about. First, about your upbringing, how astrology was blended in your upbringing, and the role of music in your life. Two questions. Like, my upbringing is like in normal schools. In India, we call them Kendriya Vidyalayas. Wow, nice. Yes. It's called Central School. Kendriya Vidyalaya. Yeah, even I'm also from a Kendriya Vidyalaya. Okay, you are there. So you know what the education. Yeah, my father was in government job, yes. Okay, so my education was that. Okay. So, like, interest in Vedic texts, I had, that is my own personal thing. It was not the product of my surrounding or situation or circumstance. Okay. Because it was a Air Force surrounding, which is more modern Western. Yes. Circumstance. And the interest in Vedic texts or the stories or the Puranas, that was my own initiative. Yes. So, and because that intrigued me, and that was
different from what we were being taught at school.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So the model, whatever heliocentric model,
Yes.
and the nature of the universe,
yes,
in the school was different from the nature of the universe in the Vedic texts, right?
yes,
So
yes.
now you have an option. Which one do you go for?
You're also from a past, graduated from one of the best schools.
Field in today's age, and then if you say something, if you make any remark on it, okay, people will say that, oh, but you're not done it, you're not been there, you don't know anything about it, so you're not in any position to make any remark about it. So my thing was that I wanted to go into science technology to the point where I can make a remark on it, where it's not. So when I went to IIT, it was, again, this part was there, that you have to know what's going on, exactly in the modern world, and which is like industrial revolution, like from 18th century onwards, 17th, 18th century onwards, like to now. We have been last 100 years in the industrial revolution. So to overlook that, completely would be a fallacy, would be a mistake. I mean, you can't do that. You have to go in that direction and try and find out what is the realm and the scope of it and everything. So that was part of that journey, because if you just go through the Vedic, and even you go in Vedic texts, right, you find technology, right? They had vimanas, they had all kinds of things, they had different things, so it's not like they were anti-tech in Vedic, so for me there was no let's say like conflict between tech and Vedic, which people have created. So I wanted to resolve that. Those two worlds, which seem quite separate, but they are actually the same.
Prash, how about your journey with the music? What role music plays in your life?
Okay. Now, in the Vedic thing, right? Sound is very big. Right. If you, even the Ved Ucharan, which happens, okay, it's like a sonic, let's say, code. It's like a sonic wave, which is being created by those mantra being spoken. Okay, being like in Sanskrit, the term is Ucharan. Okay, so that Ucharan of those mantras happening is creating a sonic wave. Okay, in that, so there are sounds which are in a particular order, creating a particular energy.
Yes.
Okay, right. That's what's going on, right? So now that is same as music. You have certain sonic frequencies coming one after the other, right? In a basic level. So first, what intrigued me was sound, then quality of sound, and the ways you can produce sound. Now, we used to have instruments before which are like acoustic instruments. They're just metal strings and, and things like that on Veena and everything. Then came electricity, right? Now, electricity is closer to ether, closer to etheric energy, which gave the ability through electric instruments like electric guitar to produce a wide variety of sounds which are not possible with acoustic instruments. So then it was about quality of tone, quality of sound. Then how does that sound affect human beings, affect the elements, and so for me, music was like a sound journey, basically, including the technology of now. So best what we can do with whatever is available. Now, whatever is the best technology for producing sound, I wanted to use for doing what I called my sound and light experiments, basically, which means, like, okay, in nature, if you play something, and a particular kind of sound, and if a rainbow happens, then that sound has something to do with the air getting fractal enough.
Yes.
Or if you're playing near ocean, sea, And the sound has to be like ocean and sea. So the sound will mix with what the visual is. Okay. And in the Vedic thing, we understand very clearly that everything is made out of sound.
Yes.
Okay. Like the Brahma did the Ved through which Brahmand was created, right? Like the sonic codes. Now, so if everything is created by sound, then there has to be an efficacy of that. And there has to be something to do with music and everything which connects to that, like how music affects human emotions, yeah, mind and emotions. In the same way, it should be able to affect nature, and like obviously we have a lot of music on earth right now which affects human emotions in different ways, makes you happy, sad, all these kind of things, there are those things already exist. And but I wanted to create something which is beyond that, happy, making humans happy or sad, or it is like making them go into a different frequency which will make them like go ask questions about the matrix and try to get out of the matrix and try to connect to higher realms of existence which humans have no idea of, like when they're living on earth, right? Yes. They can't see Swarg or Govaloka, Swarglok. They don't have direct access to that, but you can give a glimpse of that in sonic form out here, so that people know, yeah, there must be something, because this is not of the earth. This sound, this feeling, this emotion, this vibe is not of here, must be of somewhere else. Yes. Okay. So, so giving a glimpse and then tuning with a Panch Mahabhut here, which is also with the Vedic concept, right? That's what the Veds are first. They're dealing with the Panch Mahabhut and the sonic codes of that. Then comes the music aspect of it, and that's how language was created, and the sounds coming one after the other, language having meaning, like what do those sounds mean, and how do they relate to each other, and the same is the theory of sound is the theory of music, basically, exactly, and the rhythm tal of how the way should be, I think, has been lost over time, but there used to be very, very clear that thing for each shlok or each that thing, how it has to be, what meter it has to go in, what lay, tal, and everything, which is the same thing which is in music, right? It's not different. So for me, like this synthesis of the Vedic things and the modern technical ability to create sounds. Wow. Much more sounds than the acoustic instruments of the past. Yes. Yeah, that was a merger. Yeah. One of the Vedangas is about Ucharan, about Vyakaran, about Chandas, about the right pronunciation, right generation of energy. Yeah, that's what I liked about even in the nakshatras. For all the nakshatra, you have also attached like a reference point to that matching sound as well. So yes, yes. So sound was a very important thing for me. Yeah. Major thing. Okay, and then in sound, there are devices to reproduce sounds, produce sounds, and all kinds of things. And there's all kind of technology which was developed in the West over the last 100 years. So, but then you have to pick out the best of what was, because it's not all technology is good in that way. Like, for example, now they have machine beats, okay, which are made on the computer, the beats, okay, which are not played by any human, but they are very exact. They're like the clock. Everything is right. But when a human being plays any rhythm, it doesn't come out exact. Okay. Yes. It is always, there is a variability in it. And then variability is same as the heart has variability. Heart rate is not like a machine. It's not like a clock. There is a variability in heart. And that variability actually gives human beings immune system and makes you human and not a machine. Okay. So like that kind of beats make humans less human, and which is not good for the humans as a whole. They'll lose their health, they'll lose their mind, they'll lose so many things. So sounds can have a lot of effect on humans, which humans don't understand as yet. That's not the research area. So there are a lot of things which are happening with technology, and a lot of the music is being made, which is harmful for humans. Yes. That's the reason, Prashant, is like when it comes down to even my choice of bhajan,
There are like certain sect of people like Bhim Sen Joshi ji, Ravi means there's one singer, Western singer like Krishna Das. He's majorly sings Hanuman Chalisa. I still remember at a time when I was going through a lot of depression, a lot of mental turmoil and all. There was a time when I came across his voice. It's like on one day I said, okay, I want to listen to his music in the background on a repeat, and I'll sleep with that sound. And later on, I got to know in one of his documentary where he was saying that his sound and music is also used to give therapy to people going through depression and all these problems, rehabilitation related issue. So music is very rightly said by you. Music is very, very powerful.
Yeah, I mean, the sonic effects of different sounds on humans. I mean, they can have studies on it later, like technical studies. But the thing is that it is happening all the time, and the kind of music which is pervading, which is called mainstream music right now, is not evolving humans.
Yes.
It's devolving humans.
Yes.
Okay, so overall, so I had to produce an alternative soundscape, which was an evolving soundscape rather than a devolving soundscape. So that was the main thirst. And it all ties to nakshatras. I mean, if for nakshatra I can do a kind of play which will represent that nakshatra. Okay, for different nakshatras also. So people there are pictures, in my book which represent nakshatras. In the same way, you can have sound which represents.
Yes.
So people get more.
Yeah, because for me, it's like your image is of like that person, like a rock star holding a guitar. Back in 2013, 14, when I came across your pictures on Facebook, it's like, okay, there is some karmic connection. There is some connection with this persona in my life. So Prash, now I will ask you because okay, so it's an honor for me to have you here. I will ask you certain questions because if you have like next available time, we can dig into nakshatra as well. These are the two things which somehow intrigues the astrology community the most, the astrology learners, enthusiasts the most. But today I will first start with, because we are also heading close to the lunar eclipse only. So the energy is more strong for Rahu Ketu point of view. So let's focus on certain few areas which always perplexes the budding astrologers, people who are just starting up their journey on astrology. And Rahu Ketu, see, when it comes down to Rahu Ketu, everyone has just one thing to say. 8th house and Rahu Ketu, we cannot say anything. It's unpredictable. So now we have the master today who will help us decode the unpredictability. So, okay, first question I want to ask you, Prash, like reason for getting what you have got Rahu Ketu axis in this life. So all those people, so because we say that Rahu and Ketu tells about the karmic, not karmic alignment. So why I have or anyone has got this specific Rahu Ketu axis in their life? What does it mean?
Okay, first thing is, let's understand, first thing is that axis has to be there. If you don't have any axis in your chart, you can't have a chart without an axis. Just like you can't have a human body without the spine.
Yes.
Right. Like everything in the universe has axis. There's an axis for everything. Even the Brahman has an axis. Okay. So everything has an axis. First, number one. Okay. If the chart didn't have Rahu Ketu, it won't have axis. Okay. So that will be like axis-less chart, which means nothing, right? Basically, like there's nothing to. Now, the way, the 6 axes which are possible, like in that way, Rahu will move 1 to 12 and can 12 axes.
Yes.
Like that. But axis is only 6 actually. Ketu Rahu just change positions.
Yes.
If Rahu's in 4th, Ketu's in 10th, or Ketu's in 4th, Rahu's in 10th.
Yes.
Is the axis 4th, 10th?
Yes.
Axis. Okay, so the thing is, those axes define like how a being's chart. Like you can basically put that as like Rahu as ascendant, Ketu as tail 7, and put the whole chart around it. Okay, then you'll get some idea of how the axis is that thing, making the person. Now, which houses they have it in, different people, depends on what they are most comfortable with, basically. So in this incarnation, on this lifetime, they have to use those houses as the axis houses, and the rest has to revolve around them. So those 2 houses get importance, more importance than other houses immediately, because the axis is going through that. Okay. So the whole point here is with the axis is that first it has to be there, and where it is there gains importance. So just like the Samudra Manthan, everything will churn around that. So for that person's life, where the axis is where everything will churn around. Will become the most important part of any being. So it is particular in life and incarnation.
And if you have to distinguish between how Rahu differs from Ketu, and I've also come across some people saying this thing that it's not like that you have both the nodes strong. Sometimes in certain people's life, either of these node becomes more powerful. So like for example, I might be more Rahu driven and someone else might be more Ketu driven. So how to decode that?
See, okay. The thing is, there are associations Rahu and Ketu have. Okay. So in someone's chart, Rahu might be associating with more grahas. Okay. And Ketu with less. Okay. In some guys, that in Ketus will be associating with more grahas. Okay. So Rahu Ketu gain importance on the basis of how many grahas they associate with. Okay. Now, the whole point of Rahu Ketu axis is to balance both. Balance both means you have to give the same importance to Rahu and Ketu. Exactly in your life, no matter what their associations are in the chart. So then that way, your evolution and everything happens best, if equal. If you give more importance to Rahu and not enough to Ketu, or more to Ketu, not enough to Rahu, then there is an imbalance which is created, which creates a problem in terms of evolution for a human being. Okay. So if there is a conscious process, including like meditation I teach, and everything, to bring yourself to center and keep balance so that Rahu Ketu energies are also balanced. Okay. Balance is required. Any balance